Hey, what's going on? I'm Katie and I am a truth awakening master. That's right. What I do is I want to open the truth of to what is really going on this planet and to awaken more of who you are. Now, today I'm going to be doing my Sacred Path cards. I'll be drawing one card so we can have an awareness of the Native American spirit and bring back more of the natural energy that this planet used to have, of a more loving, simple vibration. So I am just going to be shuffling the cards and we'll see which card we draw, and I will talk about that one card in particular. All these cards are incredible and I'm super excited to share them with you. Okay, so I'm just gonna here we are. Here it is. What do we got? Ooh, storyteller. You guys, this is my card. I am a storyteller. So, I mean, this is great. We'll talk about this. So, yeah, the reason why I know this is my card is because I have done a tarot read on myself, and it told me that this is like what I do. And, I offer these lovely tarot reads as well. And you can find me at Katie Kesselman, Truth Awakening Master on Facebook. So the storyteller, it looks like it is 29. Yep. And so for me, what I learned with my storytelling is I can tell a story through talking, through singing, through dancing. I love telling knowledge, and I am in life path number 7, which is a seeker, which is the source of knowledge. So I'm going to read you a little poem that they each have. Sing to me, O ancient ones, of the history of our race, that I may see in my mind the love in every face, and every spirit that came before, the medicine that they made, the sacred traditions they passed to me, so the memory will not fade. O storyteller, be my bridge to those others' times, so I may walk in beauty with the ancient rhythm and rhyme. So the storytellers of Native America are the guardians of our history and our sacred traditions. All right, they ensure the future expansion of our children will bring to the earth by keeping our ancient knowledge alive. Storytelling traveled among the bands and tribes of various nations, carrying new events that affected the whole. The storyteller would recount the events of other camps at the fire after dinner. The storyteller would tell a brave deeds, coups that had been counted on enemies, a medicine dream that prophesied coming events, medicine stories that keep tradition alive, and the latest news of births and deaths. The Plains Indians sometimes call their storytelling twisted hairs. These storytellers wore a small knotted and twisted bun that fell in the center of their forehead and marked them as historians and teachers to the tribe. A male twisted hair was not expected to go into battle, but rather to observe and recall the fight, blow to blow. A female twisted hair was a historian of woman lore and medicine stories that assisted young women in manifesting pride in their tribal roles. The storytelling of all tribes and nations are the bridge to other times and ancient teachings. The children of future generations learn from the storytellers and apply lessons of the medicine stories to their own lives. Although the grandparents or parents would tell medicine stories to the children as they tucked them under the buffalo robes each night, it was not the same as when a storyteller of the nation arrived for a visit. Medicine stories are told and retold year after year to keep teachings of the people alive. Every story has many meanings and relates to lives in a multitude of ways. Each time a story is retold, the level of understanding grows and expands, along with the maturity of listener. The same events inside a story may be repeated many times in different ways to allow listeners to discern how the story applies to them. The red people's way of thinking is very different from that of other races. We do not tell others what the true message is in our medicine stories, but rather how people to use their individual gifts of intuition and observation to discern what the true meaning is for them. In this way, the teachings of the red race insist that everyone be allowed to learn at their own speed, in their own way, and to apply or not to apply the teachings in their life. The storyteller were trained to allow freedom of thought among those who sought their wisdom. In this manner, children were taught that they had perfectly good intellect and were equal members of the tribe. Every child who came to the storyteller was placed on an eye-to-eye level with the twisted hair as an equal. If children were acting silly or being disruptive, they were simply ignored, as if they did not exist. This lack of acknowledgement and attention put a stop to their bad behavior. The storyteller could act as if the child was unheard and invincible for days. This was much stronger form of discipline than spanking a child, because the child lost face with the other children as well. Memory is a special part of our Native American tradition. Since our historians are passed down orally, the remembering is an art. Each herb, plant, or flower used in healing must be remembered for future generations. Every dance, ceremony, ritual, intuition, and teaching must be committed to memory. All tribal laws and prophecies must remain intact for future generations. The coups and losses have to be remembered for future strategies. It is obvious that one person cannot remember all these things to be an expert on every subject. This is why the various clans had historians who held the oral history of an area of expertise in their memory. These fragments of tribal teachings were passed down to the next generation, and each person held one fragment that was a part of the whole way of life. A tribal storyteller held a position in the Council of Elders. As a historian, the storyteller was called upon to recall past events with total accuracy so that the events could be used to pattern a present solution. The twisted hairs taught how to live life in a balanced manner through the actions of the characters in the medicine stories. A medicine story that was told in a timely manner could end arguments, change the course of a life, bring courage in hard times, or encourage the youngsters to take on new responsibilities. Without directly criticizing the actions of another, the storyteller could recall a medicine story that could point out a tale of folly or fear. The listener would then be able to discern for themselves. All native wise ones teach through stories, rather than pointing the finger at others. In our teachings, we are always reminded that when we point our fingers at someone else, there are 3 fingers pointing back. Oops. Pointing back at us. On the other hand, the storyteller can gently remind us of our wrong thinking and allow us to correct the erroneous behaviors without shaming us in front of others. This teaching art is one way of allowing each person to decide what the story means for them. Raised Hand was a twisted hair who came every summer to share his knowledge with the children of the Ogalalas. who had gathered for the powwow before the Sundance. The horse had been used among the Sioux for 2 generations. I might be saying that wrong, but forgive me. And to Raised Hand came to the powwow on his paint called Red Arrow. The children ran to the edge of the camp when they saw Raised Hand approach with his noble companion. Raised Hand had 2 eagle feathers tied to his scalp lock and the twisted hair knot hanging in the middle of his forehead. "The twisted hair has arrived!" screamed the children as they ran to greet him. Eyes filled each wonder. The children watched Raised Hand move into the camp. He was sitting proud and erect on a red arrow, looking straight ahead with his jet black eyes glued to the center of the camp. Red Hand was the oldest twisted hair in the Sioux Nation. No one knew how many winters had he carried on his back. Even the chief came to greet him, remembered Raised Hand as an elder when he was a little boy. Dismounting in the center of the camp, Raised Hand was greeted with great respect and warm "Hello, friend. Hello, Kalas." The council of chiefs was called. The Raised Hand went to smoke the pipe with the leaders of the Ogallala. After the pipe was smoked, food was brought and news was shared among those inside the medicine lodge. See, I am a storyteller. All right, when evening came and the last light of grandfather's sun rays of the love touched the swirling buffalo grass of the prairie, the feast began. Everyone enjoyed a reason to celebrate. The return of Raised Hand to this band of the Ogallalas was very special. The expectation ran high, and all eyes were focused upon the storyteller. As he began sharing the news of births and deaths, the coups that had been counted, and the decisions of the various councils and the other bands over the last winter. When this orientation was completed, Raised Hand told a medicine story. Ooh, this is the good part. "Many winters ago," he began, "when the buffalo were plentiful and the only enemies of the Sioux were the crow, I was nursing at my mother's breast. I was small, but I watched the camp and heard the drums of my ancestors speak to the people. I understood what the drums were saying and what the stories they told. For such a small one, the stories were comforting when my mother was occupied tanning hides or masking pemmican. Not sure. Okay, so it was that 10 winters passed, I had become a young boy with responsibilities. At that time, my name was Here's the Drums because of the medicine woman that insists... Oh, sorry, let me read that again. At this time, my name was Here's the Drums because the medicine woman that assisted in my birth had noticed my fascination with the drumbeat. Crooked Leg, my father, had been stomped by buffalo when he was saving the life of a careless youth in his first hunt. I was now particularly responsible for hunting small game for my family. After returning one day with a squirrel and a rabbit, I brought them to my mother and was greeted by the storyteller, Yellowface. Yellowface was a twisted hare who had served our people since before my grandfather was a boy. Yellowface asked me what I had learned on my hunt and if I had heard the creature beings speaking to me. I was startled because I had never told anyone that I had followed my own heartbeat, like the drum's music, to the place where the animals told me who was ready to be my family's meal. Until grandfather's son died in the West, I sat and told Yellowface about the wondrous stories I had heard from my friends, the creature beings. I told him how I raised my hand and commanded my heart to drum Halokala to the sisters and brothers of the prairie, the hello friend. That my heart drummed brought the creatures to me, and they gladly shared their medicine stories. So it came to pass that I was chosen to train as a twisted hare with the storyteller, Yellowface. My name changed to Raised Hand because I greeted all creatures with the open hand raised in friendship. So the message here is the storyteller card speaks of expansion on all levels. You are now growing and encompassing many new ideas of you. Many ideas if you have received this card. See which areas of expansion need your attention and feel your personal fire of creation. Create more and enjoy the expansion, knowing you have earned it. Note that the expansion will continue if you are willing to share how you have achieved your successes with others. Many lives are influenced by another's stories. In the good fortune of your present situation, you may be instrumental in encouraging others. In all cases, expansion occurs when all people are allowed to grow in their own rate with their own understanding. The wisdom of the storyteller is a part of the art of remembering. Note that you are now remembering your personal medicine and how to be your potential. So again, with the storyteller, having a great memory. I've always known that I had a great memory as a child. And with this card, it helped me to know that this is one of my superpowers. So I am super excited to be your storyteller, to be able to read you stories each week of new cards and adventures of the Native Americans, so you may learn and grow in your own way through the teachings. And remember, it's at your own rate. There's no race. Everything is unfolding perfectly as it should. And with guidance from others, you will get to your full potential. We need help. We cannot do this alone. And once you decide to invest with other people who are going to have you grow like 10 times the amount you would if you would do it alone, then you yourself can bring the joy and gifts to others and help them grow as well. Again, if you would like to connect with me, I am Katie Kesselman, 2Ks, on Facebook, Truth Awakening Master. You can book a session with me and we can go over more of who you are and what you can bring to this earth. Thank you. Have a great day.